17th. And we have with us Fred. And how do you say your full name?
Hillebert.
Say your name.
Hillebert is Fred Hillebert.
Okay, and when were you born?
January 7, 1964.
And where were you born?
I was born in Tacoma Park, Maryland, at Washington Adventist Hospital.
And what's your permanent address?
7410 Jackson Avenue, Tacoma Park, Maryland.
And just tell me a little bit about your life, and you're a product of society, or just some unique things about you and your feelings on whatever you think is important about you, your life, where you're headed, politics. I understand you're a comedian. Anyway, just let it rip. Just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Just give me some basic facts about you.
Sure. I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist family, and what bearing that has on me now, I'm not sure, and I don't know when I'll find out exactly how my childhood fully affected me. I think I had a pretty normal childhood, pretty shock-free. I think it was very secluded, in a sense, very sheltered. But I went to Seventh-day Adventist high school, and for the most of those years, I was pretty much I accepted a lot of things just as they were presented to me from my background, from my childhood, what my parents taught, and what the institutions taught me. But I'd say at a certain point, I started to become just a little dissatisfied with things because, at least from what was told to me, and what I began to see in the world around me, things began to differ. And I think that kind of set me out on a kind of road to kind of figure things out and find out what was true and what was not true, and to challenge things, both things that were presented to me and challenge things within. So that's kind of it. It's always been something that I've been wanting to do and have been trying to do, and that was always to find out more and learn more. And information has always fascinated me, and I don't know how much absolute truth there is in it, but I've always thought that information was a sense of self-empowerment, of being able to help to prevent you from being duped or being exploited or taken advantage of. So information is very important to me, and I tend to put a high price on something being true, or as opposed to it being unbased or a lie or false. So that's very important to me. I try and live life along the lines of if it doesn't cut it on a basis of does it stand up under criticism. If it doesn't stand up under criticism, you've got to start to look at it and wonder if it's all that it claims to be. Right now, where I'm going in my life, I'm not sure. I would hope that this direction, in my search for things that are true and knowledge and information and hoping knowledge and information go together, will take me to someplace. And where that is, I don't know. I would expect that I would only know that probably a day before I died or something like that, many years down the road. So I really have no expectations about what there is that I want to, what there is that I will achieve, or what will happen, if there will be some great event that will boost me through into some higher strata, some level of transcendence. I just live, and I kind of live from day to day, trying to see if little by little I can improve myself, and maybe in the smallest way to do that, and to see if I can slowly but surely translate that into an externalization of the way I view and treat the world around me. To understand and to live in better sync with the world around me is something that I definitely feel like I would want to move toward. That's very important to me. Otherwise, right now I'm going to school at Montgomery College, and I'm taking a series of courses, so that eventually I can leave with a certificate in being a legal assistant / a paralegal. But that's kind of the boring technical side. Really, it's once again my interest in the idea of information as being accessible to people if you know how to get it. And in the legal area, that's something where you have to know how to be able to access it, and in a sense what the magical incantations are to get to what you want, the information. I have a real one of the things I have a problem with is areas of life where certain groups of people have established themselves as the court magicians, that they hold the answers to something, and that it's going to be pretty secret to anybody else. So one of my areas would be to have access to that information, so thereby depriving them of the monopoly that they might have on my life or other people's lives. If I had that information, I would disperse it to everyone. As much as I'm interested in information, I think it should be completely democratized and given to everyone. But that's it. I could talk a lot longer about things. I'm kind of tired right now. It's like, I think, 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was just wondering about what everything I was going to say. But that's kind of it. Any questions?
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
First question is, how long have you been clean?
How long have I been clean? I have been clean since 1983 or 84. Clean being, the farthest I ever went was to smoke marijuana, and I did that at, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 separate times, and it was initiated probably out of a certain amount of, I think I first started it in my senior year of high school, and I did so initially. The first time was out of curiosity. I had wanted to see what the big commotion about, understanding that in my community, Seventh-day Adventist, it was something that was seen as being the end of the world, so to speak, for our children to do and to use. So I had wanted to see what it was all about, and I used it actually with one other person, and I did so. I said, well, I want to find out, and we went and I experimented, and I found it to be pleasant. I had a very euphoric sensation. How much of it was psychological, I'm not sure, but I use it about 5 more times, just under certain circumstances, and I came back to my love of, in a sense, love of information, and read in particular, love of my brain. And after having done it, I said, well, that's really interesting, and I find the effects to be interesting, but I have this love of my brain, and I don't want to destroy it in any way. So I just kind of decided that's enough of that. I'm not going to do that. And a short while after that, I guess, maybe a year or so, I just decided, even after I stopped smoking marijuana, I would drink alcohol. But about a year after that, I just decided I didn't want to drink alcohol anymore either, because I didn't like the way the way it brought what I think human beings are divine creatures, and I think anything that reduces us to a low state, to like a state of subhuman level, and makes us into what one might call to be clowns, is negative. And when you're not in control, and I don't mean in the sense of control like you're always doing the right things, but I'm talking about when you can be responsible for your actions. So I stopped drinking alcohol, and so since then I never really had a problem. I just experimented, and I just said that's enough. And so from then on out, I've learned by watching other people. A lot of it came too from watching other people who I knew were doing drugs and had done drugs. And
LSD?
huh? LSD? No, really, I was very naive. I wouldn't say that my observations of people, I knew people who did LSD, because most people that I knew, at the most, were doing reefer. And I thought to myself, I'd see some people who I just thought seemed like they were really stupid people. Not stupid from their own, like, innate lack of, intelligence, like genetically, but it seemed to me that there was something about me knowing, I knew they were relatively heavy drug users. I didn't think of LSD, I simply thought of the most common drug, marijuana, and I thought that there was this kind of, like, real kind of dullness about them that seemed to, like, stamp out any sort of dynamic personality about them. And I just thought that was really kind of depressing. And so that's kind of like where I learned from watching people. I said I've noticed people who I thought were doing drugs, are sure doing drugs, and they just didn't seem to be people that were, like, fully functioning at their peak, And so that's kind of like where I got a negative connotation of drug use too.
The other question is, would you mind being put in a book?
Would I mind be putting in a book? Right off the top of my head, I would imagine no, I wouldn't mind being put in a book. It's not that I particularly care about being categorized or anything like that. My immediate reaction might be, on a careful level, will be, what would be the object of the book. I mean, whether it be, like I said, I think in the elevator, say, a Joel Peter Whitkin kind of thing, like these people are like, on the edge of life, or like, somebody covering like a Diane Arbus kind of stuff.
The book I was thinking of is a book that I have photographed
Mm-hmm.
the attic.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have is their photograph, and then what they've told me on tape.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't changed, I haven't altered anything, because what this book actually is a self-portrait of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I can identify with a lot of things that you have just said.
Yeah.
That was what my question was. Because I wouldn't want any bad karma or any bad vibes.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I would have, what springs up is very much part of my, I guess, ego defense, which would say, I would object to being placed into a book that was labeled addicts. All right, because I don't feel I have an addictive personality.
The book is called Addict.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the dark and into the light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very positive book.
Yeah.
It's just like what you just shared, was you used drugs and you came out of it, and now you're seeking other ways.
Right.
That's why I would think that you would fit in the book.
Right.
Nobody in the book is doing anything negative.
Right.
It's a totally positive book.
Right.
Out of the dark and into the light.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. But on the flip side, I would have to say that at this point right now, I also feel that there is a certain amount of importance, in a sense, in this day and age of when there's increased pressure upon people to be, in a sense, safe and clean. Not clean from drugs, but I mean clean in a sterile way, where there is a kind of a demand for homogeneity and likeness, and that to be different in the aspect where you may be handicapped or you may look different, etc. I don't find it too terribly awful to say that, well, I don't consider myself an addict or having been addicted. I think that at times you have to say, I'm willing to stand with these people who are undergoing a lot of pressure, and say, I stand with you. I stand with you, even though I am not, say, Jewish, or I am not black, or I am not Palestinian, or whatever the case may be. I don't think I have to be that to say I stand with you. I think the drug users in America need a certain amount of support and understanding, and especially if they're trying to get clean. And I think any kind of oppressed minority that's not understood needs to have people come out and go, sure, in a sense, I'm one of you, and I support any efforts. I think they're misunderstood, and I think they're like in a sense shoved under the rug, so to speak.
So your answer was you don't mind.
I think if there was text to go with it, I would prefer that the text inferred that what I was doing was I was saying that I empathized with the addict's experience, and I knew I don't even consider myself to have been someone who even came close to touching the full spectrum of drug usage. I mean, in a sense, who knows? I could have tried a drug that could have been it for me. It could have been my baby drug, my lover drug.
No, but see, the whole unifying thing in the book is everybody's clean. They don't take anything.
All right.
And you're a very unique case.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take anything. Is that correct?
Yeah, except for coffee. I just drink coffee.
Right.
A cup of coffee.
You don't take any alcohol, any pot, any acid, any coke, any heroin, or anything. So you fit along with everybody else in the book because you're clean.
Mm-hmm.
See, the book could be called Clean.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about that. It's just like people who clean, which is like not normal in this society. You got to take something.
Yeah.
Whether you're taking Valium, drinking alcohol every night, or whatever it may be. We are a chemical society.
We're a chemical society, and also one of the things that I think people ignore is that in their day-to-day lives, we're all addicted to something, whether we like to admit it or not. Even if it's not chemical, we're addicted to routines, we're addicted to certain rituals, we're addicted to some of the expected, we're addicted to hierarchies, we're addicted to the idea of differences in us. I'm better than this person, this sort of thing. We're addicted to aggression. We may be in this sort of thing that goes on. Addictions occur not only within the realm of chemicals. There are people who are addicted to abuse, this sort of thing. Not drug abuse, but, whether it be the husband that beats them and they come back, in a sense, for more. And they're addicted to that. They can't break away from it. I see addictions oftentimes as being the idea that you can't break away from something. Even if something like a routine. If someone goes to the same job that offers them no satisfaction for 17 to 20 years, in a sense, they're addicted to that job, too.
So, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
All I really like is what you said in the very beginning, which was your childhood, what happened, and then your past today, and then what you want to do about making an influence on society. We're done now.
Burning desire.